we'll see what gets output from your computer. It's always an adventure.
Listen, man, the last time it went just ducky. There's no reason to suspect that it'll be anything different this time, okay?
Wow.
I went in, I clicked on the things, they all looked like they're supposed to look. You know, all very, very official, right? Very correct.
But as anyone who's ever worked with audio equipment knows full well, you never, ever, if you can possibly avoid it, unplug anything ever, because it absolutely will not work the same way when you plug it back in.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. That's a basic tenet, sort of rule, as it were, sort of law, so to speak. Yeah.
Commandment 1.
Leave your shit where it is. Yeah.
Exactly. But like outside of audio equipment, I guess, ooh, is that pumpkin spice beer, James?
No.
Please. Ooh.
It is a hot pink lemonade sour.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just looked kind of orange, and I have seen that scrolling across my Instagram. Pumpkin spice latte ale or lager or something, and that sounds awful.
What I have had a couple of times recently, well, not so recently, but I've had it a few times in my life. Captain Morgan's makes the pumpkin rum in a bottle shaped like a pumpkin. And my friends, it is fucking delicious. I'm going to put that out there right now. You can drink that shit straight from the bottle. You don't need none of this like mix or anything. It's just like, how about a little swig of the pumpkin, boy? And then, tip the weird little round bottle up and you just, get pumpkin hammered. Yeah, that's good.
Can't make it through October without your Captain Morgan's Rumpkins.
Rumpkins.
I think it works.
Yeah, man.
But hey, video games.
Video games.
This is a podcast about the video games. Press X to podcast, in fact, the podcast from your friends at COG Connected. Let's get that out of the way because I always forget to introduce the podcast. I'm just too excited. Too excited about the video games, too excited about our time together. This bi-weekly sojourn. It's always a great time.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Always.
Always. Brett, it'd be great if we could see your face someday, but I know. Hardware,
one day.
I get it. The internet can't handle it.
No, most likely they wouldn't.
What we need is like like a stock photo ass looking photo if you just kind of like or like something like that, and then the people will have a face they can look at instead of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does like Sears still exist? Could you go down to a Sears and get some portraits taken?
Oh, nice. Yeah, like a little passport photo. I'll just get that.
Yeah, but I want to see some poses. You can switch up the pose every week. You can have some of the, the fist to the chin kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right.
That's fair.
I'm more of a mugshot kind of guy. No smile, no expression.
Straight on.
Yeah.
All right. Are we talking drunk tank mugshot or hard time mugshot?
Whatever happens, happens.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, whatever happened.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which can we dig through to find?
There'd be too much to sift through for one podcast.
I'm sure you just have a rap sheet as long as a CVS receipt.
Yeah.
And if you submit the survey at the bottom of his rap sheet, you get a chance at a gift card.
Oh hell yeah! $20 up my next purchase.
Yeah.
Fucking sign me up, man.
Tell us about your experience with Rhett, and win $20. I'd probably do it. I'd do the survey.
Yeah.
Okay, like this is not a contest that I'm endorsing. Okay, this is not something that is official. So people don't message me.
Well, no,
he was
I mean,
very sweet when he held me up. Such a nice boy.
This is
With his
not
gun.
an official contest.
We've
his
retained a
ski mask.
third-party partner to assist us in this information gathering. We've been looking for feedback. So,
Yeah.
Fuck.
Okay. All right.
anyways, for like the fourth time, video games.
Video games.
I played a lot of video games in the last 2 weeks.
What? Why don't you start us off, man? You probably got some real heaters coming down the pipeline.
Yeah,
What do you?
let's start with the thing that's, well, yeah, it's the thing that's most recent. Let's talk about Kena Bridge of Spirits.
All right.
And as you may remember from the PlayStation 5's original showcase, Kena was the game that people went, what is this? This looks incredible. And what this is the first game from a little studio called Ember Lab that's previously been known mostly for animation stuff. They've done big budget promotional animation for people like Coca-Cola and Major League Baseball and things like that.
Oh.
So they've got chops, definitely visual and animation chops, and they're putting them to the test in a game. And it's a 3D character-driven action platformer, not unlike you might see on a PlayStation or a PlayStation 2, with lots of collecting stuff and lots of hitting the bad guys and lots of exploration, but also lots of the things that I thought we left in the past. Things like inconsistent ability to stand on things. Like sometimes you can stand on a table, and sometimes Kena will kind of go into that infinite falling animation because the table's not actually a surface. Things like that. So when I reviewed this game, the review score came out quite a bit lower than how much I actually liked the game. Because in an objective sense, this is kind of mechanically dated. And not everybody is going to like going back into that rabbit hole of old style games with lots of collecting things and doing mindless nonsense. It doesn't really have a motivation to do it. But I like it. So I could see this game showing up somewhere on my top 10 of the year, but I definitely wouldn't suggest it as a top 10 game for the site list, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I almost fell asleep through the first couple hours.
yeah,
Shit is so clunky. That double jump sucks. The platforming feels like it's out of 1999. Great looking game to look at, but man, I am snoozing through the first little bit.
yeah, it does pick up a little bit. The combat gets pretty challenging. That was actually one of my knocks against the game, is that I feel like the difficulty is pretty uneven. You can, it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. You're going to find yourself tweaking things up, tweaking things down to get to a place where you feel like you're challenged, but not getting smoked unreasonably. You know, I thought I'd found a nice spot for a lot of the time where you're just kind of scraping through encounters. You're just getting away with lots of stuff. And then you'd run into a boss battle where it's like a substantial jump up. And I thought, I'm not here for this. I'm not here for a Dark Souls type experience with lots of, stun locks and multiple combos that bosses are pulling off out of nowhere. And it's, like I said, it's a little mechanically dated, so it's not super fluid. You're not going to be pulling off a ton of, Platinum Games kind of moves in this thing. But it is gorgeous, like Rhett said. It's stunning to look at. There's lots of really beautiful vistas and really great animations. A lot of the cutscenes are kind of the pre-rendered variety that look really great, could come from a Pixar movie, could come from a DreamWorks movie, something like that. Really high quality. But gameplay side of things, I don't know. It works. It's good. It's not amazing.
All right. Well,
but at the same time, I really liked it. I don't know. It's a weird combination. I don't know.
Those fucking rot are so cute.
Oh my god.
That's the one thing I'll say. Man, they're so cute.
Anytime anybody takes like screenshots or they're like, oh, check out this fucking beautiful game, it's just like 5 or 6 of those dudes in various cute little hats. And it's like, it's kind of the whole deal.
That's potentially my favorite thing in the whole game is the little rot dudes that you pick up along the way. That's part of the reason you're going to explore, is to get more of them. There's not really a good reason to do that. It doesn't affect gameplay at all in the slightest. Just going through the main story of the game, you're going to level up to the level that you would need to in order to unlock all the powers. You don't really need to go out of your way. But man, putting hats on them is great. Super great. And they've put a lot of effort into anywhere you go in the world, the rot kind of set themselves up on things. So if you're coming up to a bridge, there's like 15 of them. They're like sitting, dangling their little legs over the sides of the bridge, just kind of watching you go by. Or, you know, they're perched up on a stump, or they're inside baskets inside of houses. And God, it's adorable. So adorable.
Aww. That's awesome.
Yeah. Feel good kind of game.
All right.
James, what have you been doing?
Well, I got a few titles on the docket. I'm going to start with one that I'll talk about pretty briefly. That's Inscription. It's just a demo that they released this week on Steam, and it's coming out in October, and it's fucking rad. It's fucking rad. Oh. Like, if you saw the trailer, it's a card battling game and also technically a roguelike, and it's got these like horror elements to it, and like all of that works really, really well together, and the whole thing has this really sinister vibe without a whole lot of story. Like, they just really effectively set up the stakes and the like powerful atmosphere with very little work. Or like with very little like exposition, you know what I mean? Not work, exposition. And yeah, the gameplay is really fast and fluid, and you pick it up immediately, and the rules make perfect sense. And it's awesome. The roguelike element, I feel like I should talk about, because it's not immediately obvious from the trailer, because you're just, playing a card game of, where on earth would that come into play? But if you lose the card game, then the guy whose cabin you're at playing the card games, murders you, right? Like, murders you. But before he does that, he uses his camera and some tools to make a little card out of your fate, where you just like pick some stuff and like, this is what it costs, and this is what the sigils are on it, and then he takes a photo of you, wink wink, not really, and then you die, and then some other poor sap plays the game next, but they've got like this cool death card in the deck that they can get access to.
All right.
And like it's kind of like Hades in that, like, every time, even when you lose, the story still kind of progresses.
Oh, that's
or
good.
Like that other one with the family of demon hunters, where like things move along even if you bid it. A lot of strategy, a lot of depth possible. One thing that shows up in the demo, if you play it, the victory is determined by these like scales that are on the side, and when you do damage to the person, these teeth will sort of like be piled into the thing, and then when their side gets low enough, then they lose. if you want to gain an edge, sometimes you can get access to a pair of pliers, and you take one of your own right out of your mouth, and you stick it in the side of the scales.
Wow.
And it's fucked up every time it happens.
You know what this reminds me of, just looking at this trailer, is there was a trend kind of in the early mid 1990s where there would be board games that had an associated VHS tape that you would play at the same time as you're playing the board game. And they were always like trying to be slightly creepy, but also a little bit off their rocker at the same time.
Yeah, it's interesting how this rides that line. Because, like, you'd think it'd be just, like, really silly, but I was, like, super into it. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I was just really able to buy into this guy. It was just like, oh, you come across this dude, he's the prospector, and then he puts this mask on and his eyes go all wacky and he pulls out a fucking pickaxe and you're like, oh, okay. And then when you lose, he like reaches across the table and drags you away and you're like, ah.
All right.
It's so good.
And bizarrely, this is another Devolver game that doesn't look like a Devolver game.
Yeah. It's developed by Daniel Mullins. It's the one who's behind Pony Island.
Okay.
If you remember
all right.
Pony Island.
Yep. Pretty hard to forget Pony Island.
Yeah. If you want an idea of like, not the flavor of insanity, but like, dude knows crazy, right? Like, you know,
Yeah.
has a pedigree in it. So like,
All right. Nice. Yeah, I will definitely download that demo and play it because hey, that was pretty fun. Yeah. And shout out to Devolver Digital for branching out and making different stuff and yet still making all their games be really goddamn good. Like, do they have a stinker? I don't think so.
Not no complete stingers. No, definitely not. There's some things that was like, oh, this is a weird passion project from somebody, but like they were really into it and it's got something cool about it.
This game is for someone.
Yeah, I remember there was one I played a demo for back in like 2018, I think, and it was just like a husband and wife development team, and their English was like not great, but not bad, honestly. And they were kind of like describing to me like how the game works and like how everything broke down, and it was just, all right, guys, this is cool. It's absolutely not for me, but you're really into it, and I appreciate your passion, and it's well done.
This has craftsmanship behind it.
Yeah.
I don't want to play it at all, but good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely... Yeah, you're never like mad at them just for making this fucking thing.
No, it's always so wholesome. Especially at an event like E3 because they always put together a trailer park for some reason. And that's a good time.
Yeah.
You know, they feed you barbecue and you go into various Airstreams and play Devolver games. What's not to like?
Nothing. Rhett, what's in your docket?
Prison Break Simulator.
Okay.
No, I kid. So I've been playing this WRC 10 rally racing game, and it's pretty good. A lot of people say that it's like the Dark Souls of rally games, racing games, and
No, come on, man. Is it you? Are you the someone who says that?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna just gonna add this to the end of your rap sheet because this is a serious video game foul.
But go on, please.
Yeah. Tell me more.
I thought. Did you have anything else to add to that, or?
No, I really want to know why WRC 10 is the Dark Souls video games.
It's very, very, very difficult.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really tough.
Okay.
It's a good game. Fun to play, but very tough.
On a technical level, is this the kind of thing where you're tweaking spring rates and adjusting gear ratios and things like that? Or is it more...
Yeah, you can go in and tune all that stuff if you want to. You know, you'll get a more thorough experience if you do go in and do that stuff, but you don't have to. You can kind of get by with just the basic knowledge.
Compare this for me to Dirt Rally, because that's kind of my go-to rally game.
I don't think I've actually played Dirt Rally, but I do know that people that play WRC, they're often referred to Dirt Rally. If people say if you like WRC, you should check out Dirt Rally. So, yeah, I'd imagine Dirt Rally 2 is still great. I know a lot of people in the sim racing community still play that as their main game.
Mm-hmm. So set it up for me. Is this like a campaign career kind of thing, or is it more just individualized races and tracks and whatnot?
There's like a wide selection of things. There's obviously just like free runs and stuff like that where you can just hop in quickly and get things done. Nice. And then there are like classic challenges. It'll be like, we're going to put you in this 1968 whatever, and you'll have to run this track under these conditions just like so and so did all those years ago. Stuff like that. And then yes, there is like a fairly deep campaign mode, which I actually really like the aesthetic of it. You go in and you're like in your I guess you could call it your garage essentially, and you don't walk around the garage, but you kind of have like this overview of everything that's going on. Kind of looks like SimCity almost, just a little bit more detailed. And you have like all of your departments, your research department, your like media department, everything. And so, yeah, you'll just kind of, you use that as a hub, and you'll work on your car, do interviews, build your character, etc. Through that. And then, of course, do as much racing as you'd like to.
Nice.
I think if you really got into the game, there would be hours and hours and hours in that career mode.
Sounds pretty full featured. I think the last WRC game I looked at was maybe 7, somewhere in there, and it was a little more bare bones back in those days, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they had started to come a long way with 8. 8 was really the turnaround for the series. 9 was praised as like the best rally game ever. And now 10. Fans, I see on the Metacritic that fans aren't enjoying this one as much for, to me, sort of nitpicky reasons, but what the hell do I know?
Who do these fans think they are anyway? Honestly.
I don't know. Yeah,
Probably the people that play just WRC like a lot, like maybe like more than any other game. Probably.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
That's a pretty reasonable take. Thanks, James.
Yeah.
Well, cool. You've been big into the racing games lately, Rod. Like nonstop, just driving all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm all about right now. I'm really, really addicted to it. I got the new Thrustmaster T248.
Ooh.
Their new belt-driven wheel that's coming out next month, and that's been pretty cool to test out.
Nice. For the viewers and the listeners and the fans that aren't super up to date on force feedback technology, tell me what's up with belt driven. Why is belt driven cool?
So basically, there are 3 kinds of racing wheels. Well, 4. They're the most cheap and the cheapest and least impressive version of the wheels are operated with bungee cords. They're just like bungee cords that offer a little bit of resistance when you turn the wheel. Usually you'll find those wheels, they have like 270 degrees of rotation, maybe 360 if you're lucky. So essentially these days you just want to not spend your money on anything bungee cord driven. Now, the next step up are gears. Logitech makes use of gears in their wheels, and the gears tend to be clunky, tend to be a bit louder than belts. And I mean, as far as what I've heard, they tend to not be quite as accurate with the force feedback, just because there's, I guess, a bit more that the gears have to do, so you lose a little bit of the game's feedback in its operation, I guess you could say. Whereas with the belt-driven wheels, like the feedback is being sent to the wheel a lot quicker than with gears. So belts, yeah, they tend to be a bit smoother like that. You tend to find they have a bit more torque and stuff like that. And again, much quieter. And yeah, just using a gear-driven wheel and a belt-driven wheel side by side, it really does make a difference, I find. One just feels a lot smoother, a lot more intuitive. Not that the gear-driven stuff is bad, it's just for the same price as belt-driven stuff, you can get, or the same price as gear-driven stuff, you can get a belt wheel, be 10 times happier.
So the Thrustmaster, the wheels that you've been using, this is all with consoles or PC or
consoles and PC. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, jumping between the two because I've been doing a lot of like truck simulator.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, buddy. Are you an American truck simulator guy or a Euro truck simulator kind of guy?
American truck simulator kind of guy for now. We'll see. I hear that Euro truck is real special.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I do like it.
Yeah.
Have you seen this new Logitech wheel, the G923?
Yeah, with the True Force.
Yeah, what's your opinion on that?
So again, like that one's still gear driven. So like it's got this new technology, like I said, True Force, which they say is supposed to, better represent a lot of the things that the car is doing as opposed to their other stuff. True Force, it's something that's not in every game right now. In fact, it's only in a handful of them, GT Sport being one of them. So it's not really a thing that you need to have right now. But 2 years from now, when all racing games have True Force, I'm sure it'll be cool.
All right.
I still think, though, if you're looking at a $500 Thrustmaster wheel or a $500 G923, get the Thrustmaster belt-driven stuff.
All right, there you have it. I learned something today.
Hell yeah.
Because, for whatever reason, Instagram also wants to sell me a racing wheel. Pumpkin spice latte beers and racing wheels. And let me tell you, those two things, they don't go together. They should never go together.
You don't want to get drunk and do some racing games?
Well, I mean, I do want to do that.
Pumpkin drunk.
Pumpkin drunk, yeah.
Get behind the Thrustmaster.
Captain Morgan's Rumpkin Racing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was doing that this weekend, and I was like, damn, there's a reason you're not supposed to drink and drive. I suck. God, yeah, man, I couldn't hit a corner to save my life.
Pedestrians, though, they had no chance.
No.
Yeah, definitely do not drink and drive, folks.
Definitely do not.
Never, ever,
ever. Okay, what else? I got a couple more things.
Okay.
I've been in the Halo Infinite technical test.
Yeah.
This past weekend.
And
I think it's okay.
All right.
Yeah, they had a lot of 4v4 modes. We're talking Team Slayer. We're talking Strongholds. We're talking Capture the Flag on a couple of maps. But this game feels absolutely nothing like Halo games of yore.
Oh.
It's
all right.
Fast. It's twitchy. It's a lot more Call of Duty than it is Halo, in my opinion.
Right.
Your time to kill, your time to death is a lot faster. There's less survivability, and the maps feel more Call of Duty-esque in that they funnel you to other players really quickly. And from there, it is a lot like Halo. You point your assault rifle at the other guy, and you empty the entire clip, and you see who hits the melee button first to see who wins that battle. But with that time to encounter, that time to potentially death being so much faster, they haven't touched the respawn speed. So it's still a 10-second countdown on respawn. You're waiting forever. It's a lot of waiting.
Oh.
But, I mean, it feels good. It feels well-tuned. It just doesn't feel like a Halo game to me. It's like they're not super sure what they wanted this thing to be. So, can check back in this coming weekend. Apparently some of the bigger team battle games will be this next weekend. Let's see how that goes. But, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like Halo to me. And I don't know that that's going to do them any favors when people already know that they like Call of Duty, and they're very happy to pay for that every year.
Yeah, well, maybe their audience is specifically the Halo fans who haven't had a Halo experience in a hot minute, and they've been wading in the Call of Duty waters, and they want to retain these people.
Maybe,
because otherwise they're just jumping on a fucking bandwagon, which historically never really goes that well.
Oh, it's inevitable that they'll reveal a battle royale mode for this thing. Absolutely 100% guaranteed. And it is also free, so they definitely know who they're looking to get with this, but there's one of those that people are extremely attached to already. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll be very curious to see if the campaign mode plays anything like the multiplayer. Because that's definitely not going to be a thing that Halo people will like if it's super fast and, I don't know.
Yeah.
More to be seen on that.
Okay.
Front. And I'll just polish off my last game. This was almost 2 weeks ago at this point, but I had to play through Death Stranding again for the director's cut version of the game. And it's still a great game. It's even better on PlayStation 5. It looks a hell of a lot better. It runs extremely smoothly. Put that baby in fidelity mode and it's locked in at 4K 60. I don't think I saw a drop through the entire game. Nice. And the game itself feels a hell of a lot better at 60 frames a second because you have so much more minute control. Things are happening twice as often, so you feel like you're really focused on the minutia of playing the game, of walking around rocks and managing how Sam is balanced in a way that's I found more satisfying, especially than on the PS4, but I think a lot of that has to do with the DualSense as well. Because you've got the resistive triggers and some haptic feedback there. It's a lot easier to kind of squeeze a trigger just ever so slightly to balance Sam out. And I didn't find myself getting those prompts of, oh, you got to shift your weight right, you've got to shift your weight left, as much as on the PS4, because I was just able to manage that a little more actively in the moment. So, downfall of that, this director's cut package is that if you've already played it, you don't need to get the director's cut, really, unless you want to play through it on PS5 again. The director's cut stuff is pretty tangential and not really related to the game at all. There's like a firing range, there's racing, there's a couple of new features that make it a little easier to get into the start of the game, or there's other things that you can build. Like there's a cargo catapult that lets you throw cargo out into the middle of nowhere if you really want to.
Ooh, nice.
Which that's pretty cool. If you want to build stuff out in the middle of nowhere, you can do that. But yeah, for me, I feel like the original game was already the director's cut. Every Kojima game is a director's cut where it drastically needed to be edited, but that's part of the charm. And there's not too much different on the story side of things. So if you've already played Death Stranding, there's not too much reason to go back unless you want to try it again. And I think I said this on the PC version of the game as well, that the game hits differently now that we have experienced kind of the thing that it was predicting. I don't think that old Hideo thought that he was predicting 6 months into the future, like he was.
Yeah.
But, this kind of dependence on delivery drivers and things has come to fruition in a very strange way in the real world. But yeah, I think the moment to moment kind of loneliness of Sam walking across the land is way more impactful now than it was when the game came out. So if you haven't tried Death Stranding because you're like, it's not a Metal Gear game, I don't know, give it a shot. You might like it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty great.
It turned into a prescient, powerful statement on our fucking world somehow. Because Hideo's kind of a wizard like that? I don't know.
Yeah, like remarkably not the first time that's happened, because I don't know, Sons of Liberty also, like, they had to change that game pretty substantially before it came out because it kind of predicted 9/11 in a weird way. And then it came out 2 months after that. So,
oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it wasn't exact, but they had to scramble and change it.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, Death Stranding, still a great game. Halo Infinite, maybe a good game. We'll see.
Yeah.
James, back to you. How's Disgaea?
It's taken over my life and fucked up my ability to get responsible things done.
Yeah. Well, that's...
I'm a long-time Disgaea player. I've been fucking with the series since the first one back in the mid-2000s. Mm-hmm. This particular entry feels specifically engineered for endgame, post-game players. Like people who just want to get to the good shit and start power leveling and doing all this wacky rooting around under the hood kind of nonsense that Disgaea is kind of famous for. Mm-hmm. Everything about the game's design is built to funnel you into that experience. So if you're not one of those players, I imagine it's probably pretty off-putting, but that is 100% my jam. So I thought it fucking ruled. Back in the day, the highest level a character could get to was 9,999, which is ridiculous, yes. But they thought, well, we can do better. So now the level cap is, I think, 99 million?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And they introduced a complicated, script system where you can program really detailed auto battle shit.
Oh, no.
So you can tell characters not only to fight, but to specifically target certain kinds of enemies at certain times or to use healing magic. It's kind of like Final Fantasy 12, actually.
Okay.
But they give you access to that toolkit as soon as you want it, basically. And yeah, you can get right in there and make really, really detailed scripts that just make it so that you could do crazy shit. I've been experimenting with something to describe out loud would make me sound like a crazy person, but it's something dedicated players found when the game had put a demo out before it even released properly. They found out that if you... you know what? Fine. Fuck it. I'm going to give myself 60 seconds to try to describe what it is that I've been doing for the last couple of days.
Please.
To give you an idea of how crazy this game gets.
By all means.
So once you beat the storyline and get to the post game, you start accessing stuff like limit breaking, which lets you get to level 99 million, and you start accessing the really tough battles where people are, say, level 50,000, level 300,000. You fight Supreme Overlord Bale for the first time, who has like crazy stats that can do billions of damage in a single strike. So what I did to level up really quickly was I created 100 Prinnies, which are the game's chuckable, explodable minion characters, and I programmed like 100 of them to blow themselves up in packs of 10, because there's a system you can turn on that lets the game count all of them for the experience. So like 110 people got experience for a fight, but you can also pass bills in the Dark Assembly, which means that only one character gets an experience. And if everybody has little like boosty shit on all their equipment and whatnot, then that person gets like a couple 100 billion experience, and then somebody goes from like level 80,000 to like 600,000. And if you're like doing things at the right difficulty level, like in Carnage or Rakasha mode, then it's like trillions of experience, and then you can get to 99 million in like a few fights. And if you get the DLC, you can do it even faster than that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to finish the post-game content, you have to get deep under the hood.
Yeah. So, scale of 0 to 10, how approachable is this to a mere mortal who's never picked up a Disgaea game?
Like a 4 or a 5, honestly.
Okay.
Because, like, you can look up everything. Like, people talk about it, people post about it on, like, GameFAQs, like, all these websites. If you're like, man, how do you do this thing? Or like, what? Because like I basically have to relearn all the systems every entry because they change everything a little bit, right? Or they'll like change how certain systems work, or certain systems will be like almost obsolete, but you can do them anyway. Yeah, and you could just like look that shit up. But also, if you don't do research, you can waste dozens and dozens of hours doing something that's actually not very productive.
Got it. It sounds like something you could like reasonably put on your resume.
Yeah.
Like I'm a level 10 wizard in Disgaea script. And somebody might be looking for that skill set.
Yeah. Yeah, the series has progressed so far that the old tactic of diving hundreds of floors into the dungeons that are inside literally every single item you pick up is no longer all that viable a strategy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
if you and they changed how many floors the item dungeons have. So if you want to explore a pack of gum to its maximum depths, you could be at it for a really long time.
Well, it sounds like they made this game specifically for you, James. 'Cause I know that's your jam.
Yeah. It is fucking up other parts of my life.
Okay. Well, like maybe keep an eye on that, I guess.
Yeah.
Or not, I don't know. It'll be fine, I'm sure.
Yeah. Eventually I will get characters to level 99 million. And, boy, I will look a lot more exhausted than I do now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna keep my eyes open for that. I'll use my radar, my built-in detectors to determine when you've got to that point.
Yeah.
And if we need to intervene, believe me, we will. We will.
That's fair.
Yeah. Anything else that you've been playing you wanna chat about?
I did cover In Sound Mind, which okay. Maybe it's just me, but I can spot a game made in Unreal Engine that maybe wasn't supposed to be from a pretty great distance at this point. To the... Yeah, like, I didn't even waste any fucking time with this one. I saw it was Unreal, like, as soon as it fired up, I was like, oh no, they made this with that particular engine. And then I went in and immediately turned off motion blur because fuck you for even having that as a feature. It doesn't look good. It's never looked good. And it's just like when they put motion smoothing on fucking modern televisions. It's poison for the eyes. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You're going to burn them right out of your fucking skull. And then who are you going to come to? Me? No, I'm going to laugh. Anyways.
I mean, it can look good sometimes, but only if they put in the groundwork. If they just flip on the switch of Unreal Engine 4's motion blur, it has a very particular look that I'm quite sick of. But if you put in the groundwork to make it unique for particular objects, if they're moving and it's not just a whole screen effect, that can look pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, what I do know is that this game is out for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X, and then eventually they said Nintendo Switch. But no, absolutely not. Under no circumstances. They should just shelve that shit. Be like, listen, we're sorry. We have lofty goals and big dreams. Can't do it. Don't try. I was under the impression I was going to get a PS5 code, but then I did not. I think because the optimization is hard with Unreal Engine. It's such a big, beefy, unwieldy fucking engine to work with. Where like making it look great is like 10% of the work, and the other 90 is optimization. And like,
yeah.
It fucking bums me out when I see small developers think like, oh yeah, I'll just fire up Unreal and then make a beautiful ass fucking game. Like, you will. Nobody will be able to run it properly.
Yeah,
like,
that's such a bummer.
Yeah, like my PC, it's okay. It's not a complete slouch, but it's getting on, right? And the system was under the impression that I could run this on like high or ultra high, and no, absolutely not. Medium at best. And
Wow.
and there's just little like it sucks because I don't have the language to properly describe what it is I'm seeing, what it is I'm frustrated by. Like, I don't know on a technical level enough about the behind the scenes game shit to tell you why it is that these games frustrate me so much. But like, I can always tell now, and it's always just a little bit janky because it's meant for some hypothetical PC build that I do not have, and most people also will not have. Other than that, the game is fine, Yeah, it's a horror game, kind of, not really, where you're like diving into the haunted, horrible pasts of your patients. You play as a therapist. They're all dying. You're looking into those moments before their death and like what was happening with them inside their brains, and trying to like do the job you guess could not do when they were alive. I don't know.
No.
Yeah. So like, it's a lot of like crazy environments because you're like diving into people's psyches. So it's sort of like a way bleaker, more serious version of Psychonauts.
Okay.
Where like the first one you go into is this girl who like flipped out and broke a bunch of shit and killed herself in a grocery store. So the stage is like this haunted, horrifying grocery store. And yeah, they really like play it up with the themes where like she didn't like people looking at her, didn't like people seeing her face, and so you can like draw her into mirrors, and it like fucks her up because she can't stand the sight of herself, and like held a mirror shard, and you like get her away because otherwise you can't really hurt her because she's some sort of demonic apparition. Yeah, I mean, it's fine enough. I got kind of a tonal whiplash because it really feels like it's supposed to be a horror game, but then they gave you entirely too much of an ability to like fight back or fuck up the apparitions you encounter, and to me that like really cuts the teeth out of like a horror atmosphere because it's like, oh my god, it's a thing, it's gonna get me, and then you just sort of like plug it 3 times in the head with your like standard handgun, and you're like, yeah, all right, you know,
That wasn't that bad.
yeah, that's fine.
And
Like the first time I encountered like scary supermarket lady, I was like, oh, and then you find out that when she hits you, it does like 10% of your health bars. So you're like, nah, all right, fuck it.
completely ignore.
Yeah,
Ugh,
it's fine.
And talk about games that fell off the planet immediately after coming out. Psychonauts 2. Like, after review release day, I heard nothing about that thing. And I've had no motivation to go back and play it either.
Everybody loved it that played it. Like everybody, like anytime I saw somebody on my feed being like, Psychonauts 2 is amazing, I was like, I guess it is. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's really great. And we just like threw it away. Weird.
Yeah.
But to go back to Unreal Engine, the Unreal Engine 4, that's the problem with having an engine that can and does make everything. It's good at making everything. You can do whatever you want. But it's really hard to kind of pigeonhole it into the thing you want it to be. Just looking at this trailer, it feels like they probably would have been better served just making this thing in Unity or something.
That's always how I feel. To be honest, if you're just like, I need to use an engine to make my shit and you have a choice between the two, go with Unity. That's just my plea to developers the world over. Unless Unity is like way harder to make shit for, which I guess, I don't know, what are you going to do? But like, if you're going to use a pre-built engine, it's not always as obvious when it's Unity.
Yeah, that's a good point. And all the generations of Unreal Engine have kind of been that way. You can spot a UE3 game from a mile away too.
Yeah.
Thanks to the ungodly texture pop in.
And like UE5 will probably be kind of obvious if anybody ever makes games for it, because it kind of seems like a super powered behemoth that's beyond most computers and the current console generation. And yes, I'm referring to PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see when, if and when something finally gets shown off using it.
I think we'll see a lot of really beautiful UE5 games that run like fucking garbage, because again, it's just too powerful for most machines.
No computer on Earth can handle the 78 billion rocks that you want to render. I know you can, but maybe you shouldn't.
When they did that UE5 demo, they had to use some like fucking graphics card that no longer exists in the wild.
Yeah. Oh, engines.
Burnt up. Yeah.
Never changed, though.
Rhett, have you been playing anything else?
Not a ton of stuff. Just my racing games. Just sitting up here, getting old, playing my racing games.
All right.
Are you or are you not playing American Truck Simulator right now at this moment?
No, I wish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, if you were, you could kind of call into the show like you were on a CB. That might be kind of fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice.
You know?
I'd have to figure something out.
Maybe think on that. You got to come up with a good handle.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
let me know when you're ready to do that bit, because I'm here for it.
Okay. We'll figure something out.
Well, then why don't we jump into the news? Let's talk about the news, because Chris Pratt's Mario.
Yeah. Okay. My super serious, real deal, actual take on this news. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what else he's done for voice work? he played the main character in the Lego movies. That was great. I got zero complaints about his work in those films.
So there's no way he's going to put on a Charles Martinet accent, right?
Okay, but please, Chris Pratt, pretty please do a shitty Italian accent the whole time. I'm begging you.
But tell me more about this.
Make this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't just make this a movie. Make this a train wreck. Make this a beautiful $100 million train wreck. Please. We already had the perfect Sonic movie taken away from us with his little human teeth and his real eyes. Just give us this.
I almost forgot that existed.
Teeth.
Tell me more about this movie. For whatever reason, it has missed my radar. Is this live action?
No. Okay, so this, the Nintendo partnered up with Illumination Studios, who made Despicable Me and the Minions films, which means they found themselves a development powerhouse who will make marketable, adorable, billion-dollar movie versions of these beloved characters. And they've got gigantic voice talent, or like big name actors. They're not great voice actors mostly. Jack Black's pretty good, and Charlie Day's got a niche he fits into nicely.
Yeah.
Anna Taylor-Joy, I have no opinion on. Just I don't know. Maybe she'll be amazing. Yeah. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Jack Black as Bowser. Guys, Charlie Day as Luigi.
Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong.
For some fucking reason.
I bet Key will do an okay job with Toad. I can feel like he could do a Toad.
Yeah. It like, I know people are going to be like, oh, you're not going to do the characters justice. Like, I don't want them to do the characters justice. I want them to pile drive this fucking IP into the dirt from 40 miles up. I want them to make this thing into a meteoric impact of a catastrophe. I either want this movie to be incredible or like so bad that people think fondly of cats.
What's the like over under? Like, what are the odds that this is either better or worse than the 1993 Dennis Hopper and John Leguizamo classic Super Mario Brothers?
In order for this to be worse than that movie, they would have to record the voice lines in a week. And then they could do the rendering work in about 3 months. And then they could put that movie out. And then they could release a patch for that movie 2 weeks later. If they did that specifically, it would be worse than the 1993 film. Anything else, I don't think they could do it. I don't know if you've watched that movie recently. It has problems.
I haven't watched it recently, but that doesn't surprise me at all. Side note, apparently Charles Martinet is part of the cast of this movie.
My guess is that they're gonna do a thing like a fake out kind of reveal where like they'll be like the video game Mario, and then they're gonna sort of pan back to like who the video game is based on, and those characters will be played by the voice cast that's been revealed. We're like, oh man, look at me, I'm so famous, I got a motherfucking video game about me. Ah, yeah. And then it'll be like some sort of weird multi-layered like meta bullshit about like these characters behind the video games, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Because there's no other reason to have Martinet on and not have him play Mario, except to actually have him play Mario, but the video game version, because they're just going to wink so hard at the audience that one eye's going to start twitching.
Or he's going to like play the guy who runs the newsstand downstairs from Mario and Luigi's.
Yeah, it's like 3 lines. Thanks for 30 years of work, Charles. Fuck.
Yeah. I'm kind of sad that this isn't live action because I want to see how good of a Mario mustache Chris Pratt can possibly grow.
God. Oh, that would have been so good.
Especially if they had to, give it a little bit of CG love. Fluff that bad boy up.
Oh.
The old reverse Henry Cavill.
Because then it's just Jack Black kidnapping Anya Taylor-Joy, and then Chris Pratt and Charlie Day have to go rescue her. Fuck, man! And Keegan-Michael Key is there also for some reason. God,
they probably actually don't have. They probably actually don't have to do anything. There would be no CG work on Seth Rogen to play Donkey Kong. Like, he's about as close as a human being gets to that character.
Maybe if like the Donkey Kong from the CG anime show from the 90s retired from adventuring and followed Seth Rogen's exact career path, then sure, okay. Makes a bunch of movies, smokes a bunch of weed, starts getting really into making like vases, like really into it. Have you seen Seth Rogen's vases?
I have seen the vases.
They're amazing.
He's got a lot of time, I guess.
He's so goddamn good at it. It's crazy.
I personally really hope that Donkey Kong is a massive stoner in this movie.
He's so good.
Yeah. Anyway, there was other Nintendo news.
There was.
Actual stuff that people who listen to this podcast might care about.
But like, nobody gave a shit about it. It was all completely obliterated by the casting announcement.
Yes. And that's shocking, given that one of the things was Bayonetta 3.
Oh, finally, right? That's cool.
Yeah. Bayonetta 2? Awesome. Bayonetta 3? Probably also awesome.
Yeah. There's kaiju battles, man. You can't... There's gonna be fucking kaiju battles.
And it looked like it was running pretty damn smooth.
Yeah.
Which, not a guarantee on the old Nintendo Switch, eh, Rhett?
Man, yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Like 8
And not only
frames a
Bayonetta,
second.
but man, all these fucking games that are coming to the Switch. Dying Light 2. I'm sure that's going to be a blast.
It's a cloud version, right? So it'll run fine.
Yeah.
Nothing really blew me away in that presentation. But I was kind of interested in that Kirby game. That looks like it could be kind of fun.
Yeah, like they're just taking the open world success story and applying it to other games.
Yeah.
But like in a way that makes sense for Kirby. Like it's not just an open world Kirby game, because you saw a lot of footage of like very carefully crafted stages that like felt more traditionally Kirby, but it's still this huge weird area devoid of like life. It's unbelievably weird. Kirby's a strange beast for me because I haven't sought out one of his games in a really long time, but every time I play them, they're great. Mm-hmm. Like they're so much fun. But I'm never like, oh, I got to play that Kirby game. But when I do, they're amazing. So maybe this one will actually be like, oh yeah, I'm going to check it out, and it will also be really good.
Is it because his feet attach directly to his body? I've always found that weird.
Yeah, that is pretty weird.
Or his head.
Also,
I mean, it is his head.
Yeah. I like that he's canonically one of the most powerful living forces in the universe. That he can, like, eat stars and planets and stuff like that. And is strong enough to, like, hit something with the baseball bat to the point where it travels a few hundred light years in the span of a second. Like, there's not, like people might have thought it was weird that he was the only person to survive the, like, cataclysmic events of Smash Brothers Ultimate, but, like, yeah, there's not really a person in Nintendo as powerful as Kirby.
Dude, there's a mini game in Kirby Superstar that involves trying to punch a planet in half.
Yeah.
Kirby, badass.
Yeah. Serious little dude. So that's cool.
But so squishy.
One announcement that I haven't really had time to process, but I'm really curious about, is that they released like 3 Game Boy Advance Castlevania games.
Yeah.
And like Castlevania X, Dracula X, or whatever, in like one cartridge. And those games rule.
Yeah.
Like they all take their inspiration from like Symphony of the Night, and that's like my favorite Castlevania game.
Yeah, that's arguably one of the best 2D games ever.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the inspiration for something like Bloodstained, which, well, we know your feelings on that game.
Positive.
Yes, for anyone who hasn't been listening, it's positive thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, if I've only played it front to back like 4 times or something, you know, they're good.
And what else? N64 and Genesis games, but you have to pay more to get them?
An undetermined amount at the time of this recording.
I won't be doing that.
Well, yeah, probably not. Just because, like, a lot of the stuff that's on the N64 list we've played a bunch of times. Although there's a couple, like, really rare gems in there, like Banjo-Kazooie's coming at some point, and, like, Winback, and, like, there's a couple other weird little gems, like Yoshi's Story is pretty unusual. On the other hand, get fucked, Sega Genesis. Sega's been releasing and re-releasing those games in one form or another, basically once a year since the goddamn 90s.
Listen, I could click over to Amazon right now and get a Sega Genesis ripoff with 1,000 games on it for probably $10. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
basically.
why would you pay monthly for Genesis games? It doesn't make sense.
I guess if there was like ones that they hadn't really offered up to this point, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think there's like one title on the list that like we haven't seen 100 times. You know what? I'm going to look it up right now because I want to know.
Yeah, it's worth knowing. Because really the only Sega Genesis games that I can think of off the top of my head are the Sonic games, Vector Man, and Echo the Dolphin. Oh, and Toe Jam and Earl. That's the Genesis games that I'm aware of off the top of my head. But always a Nintendo kid, so.
Yeah, I like Sega games a lot. They have this arcadey feel to them that they've maintained to this very day, which I think is pretty rad. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the classics don't have the same lifespan. Okay, so Sega Genesis is getting Castlevania Bloodlines.
Okay.
Which is basically what's coming to the like collection. It's just a different version of that game.
Yep.
Contra Hard Corps. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, which you never need to release that in a collection again, Sega. I'm going to put that out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't. Echo the Dolphin, Golden
Yes.
Axe,
Okay, yeah.
Gunstar Heroes,
Mm-hmm.
something called Musha, Phantasy Star 4, Restar, Shining Force, Shinobi 3, Sonic 2, Streets of Rage, and Strider.
Okay, that's pretty much the greatest hits.
Yeah, we played them 1,000 fucking times. Musha I'm not familiar with, and Strider is a great one. You want to pick that one up. That one's cool.
Yeah.
Strider rips. Well, we played Streets of Rage 100 times. Sonic 2, Shinobi 3, those ones have been out in like every Sega collection since they started making them. Restar, we don't need to dredge that up, man.
Yeah.
It
I mean, I would kind of like to try one of the Phantasy Star games. And I've heard Phantasy Star 4 is a good one.
Yeah.
Am I going to pay monthly to play it? Questionable.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Nintendo 64 one has got, Mario Kart, Star Fox 64, which we haven't seen in a while. That one's great.
No, that's a banger.
Yeah, can't get enough of that shit. Yoshi's Story, also good. Winback is a weird one. I remember it being interesting back in the day, but like, that was back when I was still getting Nintendo Power in the mail.
That's like the first cover shooter in history.
Nice.
Pretty sure. 'cause
Mario Tennis?
That was Mario Tennis. That definitely holds up.
Yeah. And Sin and Punishment and Dr. Mario 64. So the 64 lineup is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they're getting Majora's Mask at some point and Banjo-Kazooie. So like I might actually put a little money in for that, but like I don't give a shit about Sega.
Yeah.
I don't. Also, and this is important. This is very important. They're releasing controllers for these. So you can get the Sega Genesis 3-button one,
Yeah,
right?
saw that.
Or you could torment yourself with a Nintendo 64 controller. Kids, children, people too young to remember this console when it first came out, don't fucking do it. Don't do it.
The real question there is, have they mounted that same shitty analog mechanism on that controller? Because God, that stick was a nightmare. You want to talk about stick drift? Those N64 sticks were beyond wobbly, straight out of the box.
Yeah, the worst.
Just pieces of shit.
You don't pay money for that. Just get a GameCube
No.
controller. You're good to go.
Yeah.
That's the one you want. Great controller.
Yeah. I've got a couple GameCube controllers for the Switch. They rock. They're so good.
You got to have them around. You never know when you're going to find yourself in a Smash Bros situation.
It's true.
You know?
It's true.
Any other news? That kind of the extent.
Square Enix made a new version of ActRaiser,
Oh, really?
which, yeah,
I'm completely missed that.
it's like they updated the graphics. We have a review for it on the site, I think, or we don't have it yet, but somebody's covering it. We will have a review for ActRaiser on the site, the new version. And it looks cool. Like, I always thought that game was interesting, but I never got around to playing it because it's really goddamn weird. And I mean,
it's bizarre. But it's bizarre.
yeah.
It's like half
And
half Fire Emblem, half kind of crappy platforming. It's so weird.
Yeah. So yeah, they just made a new version of that. They announced it. They released it the same day.
Wow.
And they're doing a chocobo racing game.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Tracer.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I guess they did say that Triangle Strategy is coming out early next year. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Metroid Dread still coming out in a couple of weeks. Very excited for that.
Yeah.
Very excited. I am interested to see how far they lean into the kind of spooky vibe. Metroid's always had this kind of just bubbling under the surface kind of horror element a little bit. But it seems like maybe that's a little bit more in your face. Given,
I think,
the subtitle and all that.
Yeah, I think my guess is that they're gonna that creature that you encounter is just straight up invincible, and that it's just gonna be about you escaping it as fast as you can, because if you don't, he's just gonna fucking murder you, which is awesome, honestly. Just like, you can't fight it, just move as quick as you can. Or hide, or, camouflage into the walls or something, and so he just goes by.
Yeah, there's specific spaces that you can enter to escape. If you morph ball into the right spots, maybe you can get away for a bit.
Yeah.
Interesting. That would be a cool mechanic.
It would.
The Metroid version of Mr. X / Nemesis.
Yeah.
I'm into it. Also, this ActRaiser game looks pretty fucking good. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, they brought it to the modern age pretty effectively. Looks awesome.
Yep. There you have it.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Big swings from Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah, really curious.
As big as they swing.
Yeah. Yeah, no Zelda news, because that's probably November 2022 is my guess.
No. Yeah, no. Although they almost had me for a half a second with that Hyrule Warriors bit. I was like, holy shit. I almost kind of forgot that aesthetic was the same as Breath of the Wild. I was like, wow, is this like Zelda going big budget with this Breath of the Wild 2? But no.
No, it's going to be good. I've got the expansion pass. It's coming out next month. It's going to rule. I think it's like coming out on my birthday or something.
Oh,
yeah,
shit. Hope you're done with Disgaea by then.
I think so. I think I'm barely
one way or another.
Yeah,
you'll be done.
Yeah. The second expansion for Hyrule Warriors is probably going to be awesome, because at least with Breath of the Wild, right? There was 2 expansions, one that was just like challenge content, and the other one that was like story. And if this goes the same way, then there'll be a whole lot more narrative stuff to get into. And I thought the story for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity was great. Sure, it's just kind of like alternate universe fan fiction, but it's well written, it's well acted. Feels good. See these people again, see these characters, get in their headspaces, play as a bunch of them. Play as Calamity Ganon a little bit after a while. Ooh, that was fun. I like that. Like getting into that. That's good stuff.
That's peak Nintendo. They're giving you a taste of what they know in their hearts they will never let you do in a mainline Zelda game. Play as something other than Link. Sure, you might transform into a Goron or a Zora or something like that once in a while, but you're never going to play as Zelda. They know you want it, and they're not going to give it to you.
This is a shame, because she's a much more interesting character.
You don't say.
Yeah. She has lines and a personality and a backstory. Or is this doofy fuck? It's just like, hey, it's me here to protect you and fight and never talk.
Well, he says things like, yeah, and hup.
What?
That's all.
Yeah.
He's spirited, at least, you know.
Rhett, what was your favorite moment from the Nintendo Direct?
Man, I don't know if I had one. It was all fairly underwhelming. Yeah. It really was underwhelming, I thought.
Insert a sad trombone sound here.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the Mario movie.
Nah.
Just want to watch the world burn, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Well, I mean, okay.
Yeah. Well, I think
I'm
Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like I talked myself into that Nintendo 64 stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. While we've been sitting here, you probably bought yourself a lifetime subscription to N64 games.
I mean, I can always play more Star Fox 64. That game fucking rips, man. It's so good.
Yeah. It is really, really good. But you also know that it's basically no time at all until they're releasing a game every 6 months into that pass, and it's not that many cycles before they're like, we're bringing you Blast Core. Hey.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. So you want me to bulldoze these buildings, huh?
Yeah. That game was kind of cool, actually. The Nintendo 64 one where you're like blowing shit up
at the time
with like trucks and stuff like that.
At the time, it was cool.
Yeah.
Kind of questionable whether that kind of thing holds up.
You know, it would be great if they got Jet Force Gemini onto the pass.
All right. Yep.
Because that one wasn't bad, but it really suffered from that fucking controller. So if I could play that with the Pro,
no. That's the perfect time for Nintendo to be Nintendo and require you to have the Trident controller to play Jet Force Gemini. It just doesn't work with the Pro controller or Joy-Cons or GameCube controllers or anything else.
You can stick each of those 3 prongs right up your booty hole. What do you say there, Nintendo?
Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Press X the podcast, fellas. Covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
A lot of ground. What do y'all have coming up in the next couple of weeks? What's on your radar?
I'll have my review for the T248 wheel coming out in the next week or so.
Sick.
Yeah. I guess that's what I'm looking forward to.
Nice. Also, I see you put your name in for Alan Wake, Brett. That's coming out in a week or so.
Oh yeah. Games-wise there, Alan Wake, I'm hoping to get my hands on. Really hoping to get my hands on Far Cry 6.
Nice.
Back for Blood. And I think there was one more. Man, October's looking really good. A lot of good-looking games.
Real good.
Yeah. There's Mario Party, NHL, Solar Ash, Riders Republic, Guardians of the Galaxy, Metroid.
Fucking Solar Ash, man.
I did notice that in the little game sheet where we, like tag our names next to things we're interested in, James wrote James in all caps next to Solar Ash. Just to show that interest level is off the charts.
Well, it's Heart Machine. It's the same guys who did Hyper Light Drifter, a game very near and dear to my heart.
So good.
And the idea that those guys are going to take on a 3D expansive, beautiful, bleak, powerful realm, I just yeah, man, maybe I need that in my life. Maybe I need a little bit of that crazy, wild magic to help remind me of what it is that games can do when you really put your mind to it, you know?
Do we know who's doing the music for that? Is it Disasterpiece again?
I don't know, but even if it's not Disasterpiece, I feel like they'll find somebody pretty talented for it.
I think I was telling you this, James, but like oftentimes working, I find myself listening to the Hyper Light Drifter soundtrack. It is primo.
Yeah, it's top shelf.
Yep, Disasterpiece.
Riders Republic looks good.
Yeah, I don't know if we talked about
Also-
that. I played a bit of the beta. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Everything coming out in October. So everything I put on this big long list looks awesome. The Riftbreaker looks cool. Moonglow Bay looks cool.
Yep.
Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl.
Maybe cool.
I mean, people are really excited because it looks like a more technical version of Smash Brothers, which means it looks like Melee, which there's a certain segment of the population who carries the torch for that game forever. So yeah, I'm excited. What if it's good? What if it's a hot pile of garbage?
Either
Gonna
way,
find
that's,
out.
that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
And also another Dark Pictures anthology game coming out just in time for Halloween. So hopefully that's good and spooky. Little Hope is good. Man of Medan was pretty good.
Yeah.
Nothing quite yet at the level of Until Dawn, which I do try to play every October if I can. Love that game. So good.
Yeah.
Can't wait to play it on PS5.
All
right. Well, let's get out of here, guys. Friends, listeners, viewers, thanks for sticking around. This has been us yapping about kind of games, I guess, but also a lot of not games. But that's par for the course. You know what you signed up for. You know why you're here.
Yeah.
But until the next time we meet in a couple weeks' time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. We'll see you right back here for Press X the podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.